Yeah, well, first of all, obviously we're excited to be able to continue to play and compete. My whole thing is as you know, in the rebuild of the program, you want to be able to make sure that you want to play postseason. Obviously, the ultimate goal is the NCAA tournament, but if not, you want to continue to play. And if you're a competitor, and I've talked about this in establishing our culture in year one, you've got to have toughness, you've got to have grit, you've got to be a competitor, you've got to want to compete, you've got to want to go play. You can't be laying in a fetal position and just want to stay down on the canvas. You got to get up and fight back. And we didn't have a great second half versus Utah State, and so we want to get back out there and fight. And we know we're playing a great Irvine team. Russell Turner's the coach. They've been one of the premier programs on the West Coast. They've had a great success, and they got the leading shot blocker in the country. So we know that we're going to have to be ready to get after it. But I'm excited that we get a chance to compete, to have a chance to get into postseason, get more reps for our guys. Obviously, we've talked about retention and getting guys back, but in this time, you get to practice and still play and compete and get guys back that are going to be back, that have a chance to get great reps as well in postseason play, on the road in a hostile environment. So we're excited about it.
You recruited Miles. What sticks out to you on tape about this year's team?
Yeah, first of all, I wish we had Miles this year. It's been unfortunate, Miles Shea, with his injury, unfortunately. But, look, and Miles will tell you too, Irvine's they're a good basketball team. They've been good for a long time. Russell Turner's, like I said, is a great coach, been one of the best coaches, anywhere. And you look at the success that he's had. And their program's built on toughness, compete, grit. It's things that we want to have within our program, and they've obviously had it established for a long time, but they do what they do, and they do it really well.
Can you set the scene for us on Selection Sunday? Were you with the team when you learned about the NIT selection, or what did that look like?
You know what? I was not with the team. I told the team after the game on Thursday that I'll keep you updated. We were planning, Callie, to meet on Saturday at noon, but I had not got any word yet. And from my understanding was that the postseason, obviously we weren't going to be in the NCAA tournament, but the other tournaments, they really liked our wins. We had really great wins, and so they were comparing on some of those things, and so we were just waiting to hear. And I just kept the guys updated, to waiting to hear once I knew something. Once the bracket came out, I didn't know until the bracket came out. And we were watching it online, because it was on social media. And once it came out, I texted the team. I texted the team in the morning and told them, hey, we're probably on the borderline, and if we get in, we're practicing tomorrow. This is a chance to compete for a championship. This program that we're trying to build is about competing, competitive excellence, being a great competitor. So let's get our mindset right and ready to try to go win. And we get to play more basketball. It's a great opportunity for us, and you got to be a great competitor. And so when that opportunity arose last night, I hopped on the phone, got on the messages, and we started with the staff, and we started boom, 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 and the guys were excited, and we had a spirited practice, and guys are ready to go. They're excited to continue to play.
And you already talked about Miles, but is there a way that he can help you game plan in a way for this, being that he has history?
Well, we obviously can talk to Miles about it. He hasn't been there this year, but he knows the system and the program. All that being said, they got done playing Saturday. There's not going to be a lot of adjustments of who they are. We got done playing Thursday. We didn't do anything Friday through Sunday, so there's not as many adjustments. They are who they are. We are who we are. Yeah, there might be a tweak here and a tweak there, but we're going to get on the floor and go play and compete. And we want to play better. Look, there's no guarantee on what the result will be, but we want to play better than what we did in that second half versus Utah State.
Coach, a little off the topic of UNLV, but some news coming out regarding the NBA and a team possibly coming here. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I saw that. I think that was to be expected, that there was going to get an NBA team here. I think they were talking about, Commissioner Silver was talking about 28, 29. So that's still a couple years away, but I don't think there was any secret that eventually Las Vegas was going to be in the running for an NBA team. Look, this is the entertainment capital of the world, it's the sports capital of the world, and it's only by natural tendency that they're eventually going to have an NBA team here.
Are any of your players not playing in the NIT?
Everybody's playing. Everybody wanted to play, and and nobody even questioned it. In fact, spring break is this week, Tyler, and Isaac left for the weekend because I said, I don't know what's going on. He flew right back because he was excited to play, and flew right back to be here. So everyone's here and everyone's ready to go.
Where did he go to?
To California. He went to California, so he turned right around and flew right back. He actually drove there and then got on a flight and came right back because he was excited to play because I didn't have any information for him. And then we found out last night and he turned right around, so it was good. So everyone's good, everyone's playing, everyone's excited to go.
So for the guys who are most coveted, say the transfer portal, like Trey and Kyrie, you talk to them individually, what's their buy-in, how excited are they?
They were like, let's go win a championship, coach. There was no, my whole thing, Steve, is, and I've said this many times, I think to play for me, and I think we've tried to just drill the message over and over and over. And part of it's, when you're rebuilding, you want to get that ingrained in the culture of you've got to be a competitor. And if you're a competitor, you want to compete and play, no matter what it is. Yes, the goal is to be in the NCAA tournament. We all know that. But this is the next best thing, so that you have a chance to continue to compete. And so there wasn't even a sense of it. Those guys are ready to go. And they know to play for me, to play for this program, to do what we've got to do, you got to be a competitor. And you want to play. Winning's got to be more important than breathing. It's got to be that mentality. It's got to have that mindset. That's what I believe in, and that's what we've tried to establish here through this year one, and hopefully it's gotten through the guys. But those two guys individually were all ready to go.
What lessons can you take forward from the Utah State loss?
Well, it was interesting. One of the biggest things when you look back, when I watched the film, Steve, obviously the 19 turnovers, obviously we just turned the ball over. They opened the door for us in the second half there a few times where we could have made some runs that inched our way back, but we missed a lot of free throws, missed some open shots, and we had some letdown defensively as well because of some of the things that on the switching part, they hurt us inside in the paint. But there was a door open there in that second half, and we just couldn't score. Whereas the first two games, we did a great job at ball security, and in the first two games we scored at a high level. What I would also tell you is that we didn't play off of 2 feet like we're taught in that game versus Utah State. We were playing off of 1 foot, jumping in the air. And against Irvine, you have to play off of 2 feet. They got the leading shot blocker in the country. They're a great shot blocker. And so if you're playing off of 1 foot, which we did a lot versus Utah State, which we hadn't done the first 2 games, you get yourself in trouble. And we've been a pretty good playing off a 2 feet team. But for whatever reason, we got a little out of sorts and started playing off of 1. And that was a thing that you can't do, and you can't do that versus Irvine tomorrow night either.
Coach, speaking of Utah State, your thoughts on the league champion getting the 9th seed?
Well, you know what? I would tell you this. All I can tell you is I was doing television for 2 years before taking this job, and I was involved in, I wasn't involved in selection, but I was right there knowing with the talking to people and knowing what's going on, and I mean through the depths of things. And obviously things are going to be weighted in favor to the Power 4 conferences. It's just the reality of it. That's just the reality of it. Fair or not fair, that's just what we are. I think Utah State's a really good basketball team, and I think they're very well coached. I think the Mountain West is better than this year than probably people give credit for. UNLV, we put our hand up the first. We probably didn't do a good enough job in the non-conference, and not only us, there were some other teams as well too, because what you do in November bakes in those net rankings for the remainder of the year, even though we had a lot of teams in the top 100. And again, we didn't do our part. Went 1 for UNLV and 2 for the conference very early on. But what you do in November and December really bakes in. Now, we had great wins. If we could have just won some of those other games, who knows what would have happened even with us if later on, because the committee really looks at wins, on really good wins. But I think they're seated lower than what they should have been. But at this point, once the ball's tipped on Tuesday for the tournament, You got to go do it on the floor.
You surprised it was a one-bid league?
I wasn't surprised. I think our league's better than people think, but based on the numbers, and I said this after the San Diego State game to you, Paloma, that I think it is going to be a one-bid league if Utah State won the championship. And I said it after the San Diego State game that if someone other than Utah State wins it, it was going to be a two-bid league. But if Utah State won it, it was going to be a one-bid league. And I said that, and I had a good feel about that.
It's a big picture question about the future of the program. What do you think of the role of a general manager for college basketball? Like, do you feel like that's something that's needed? Have you thought of that?
Well, here's what I would say. It's a good question. I would say two things. One is, we're not at a Power 4, and so budget's a little different. I'm heavily responsible for fundraising. So a lot of times, and a general manager of some of the schools, you're probably getting rev share. And from, so with here, there's nothing wrong with it. There's a lot of fundraising involved that I'm responsible for, which I get it. I've got to wear that hat, and I'm responsible for that. And so I've got to hustle and scrap and kick and claw every door down that you can find and be all over the place. You guys know, I said what I said in the postgame after Utah State, Joshua.Pastner at UNLV.edu. But I got a couple emails, by the way, and I'm appreciative. And it wasn't huge donations, but it was small donations. But anyone out there that knows of, some opportunities for big donations, because that's going to be part of my deal. So the GM, I'm not anti it at all. I just think it's different, maybe for some different level programs based on budget. And then the reality is I've got to be hands-on with the fundraising, and I'm probably hands-on with the negotiations too, as in terms of maybe not the weeds of the language of the contract, of the minutia of it, but hey, here's what we can afford on guys. Here's our limit. They say, well, we want this. I can't do more than this because I just don't have. Otherwise, I can't field the team. This isn't tennis or golf. So, because of the, within our confines of trying to keep it within budget. So, we're going to do a great job of raising money and have a healthy NIL package. But obviously, it's not going to be the same as some of the certain Power 4 schools. Most of maybe all of the Power 4 schools, and that's okay. But because I'm a hands-on guy, I don't. It's just probably not going to work right now for a GM as of today.
Yeah. And then also just on your staff, I'm wondering, can you talk about the importance of Anthony Marshall to this team's success this year, and just how you guys have rallied around him?
Yeah, Anthony has been obviously a couple things. One, they love him there. They call him the mayor, and he's a good person, and he wants to get into coaching. He's getting his master's. I think he's going to be an excellent coach, Anthony Marshall. He's a good human being. Obviously had a tragic event that happened to him. He's talked about it, that being around us has given him comfort and some normalcy. So, we've all rallied around him to try to be real positive with him and just love on him and be there to support him. And, it's unfathomable to think of what he had to go through. And so, so we're there to be with him, and he's a great human being. Obviously was a great player here, and he's going to be a great coach. And guys like him, Justin Hawkins, Stacey Augman, to have those guys who wore the jersey here is a big thing for this program.
Coach, what are you most proud of when you look at your first season at the helm of this program?
Yeah, you know what? I would say, and there's a lot of things I'm proud of. We got better. I think individually, you look at some of the individual guys, the improvement that they've made. They didn't come in like that. They got better via our system and our individual development. We've had some great wins. The first time since 13-14, UNLV swept Utah State, and it was swept them handily. Now, we didn't get the job done in the tournament. I thought the first two times we were the tougher team, and the last time we played them, they were the tougher team. But we swept Boise State. To win at Utah State's, I've said this before, it's like it might be easier to go win in Madison Square Garden beating the Knicks, with their home court advantage. Winning at Stanford. Like I talked about, I talked about at the press conference, we're going to be the running rebels, and we've played fast. We play a great style. I've had people text me, says, Coach, we haven't seen, how many teams might not dive on the floor more than your team around the country. We dive on the floor a lot for loose balls. We're hitting the floor all the time. So there's a lot of things to be proud of that. There's also areas that we have to get better at that I'm well aware of. I recognize it, don't hide from it or shy away from it. And this first year, allows me to know the lay of the land, to understand what we've got to do to be better. We're here. I'm not in scramble mode. You remember when I took over, we had no one on the roster. It was I had to hustle to go raise money. You're trying to, I didn't finish out the roster till the summer. You're dealing with massive injuries. So there's also things that I've got to do better to help the program move forward. But I can tell you that there's not a person more highly motivated in the world, and it's all I think about 24/7, 365, whether it doesn't matter when it is, every waking second on, even probably when I'm sleeping, on what we got to do to get this program back to where everyone wants it. There are no guarantees with it, but I know the effort that I'll put in, probably at the detriment of my own wife and kids, because half the time I'm there physically, and I'm not proud of it, but all I'm thinking in my mind is, okay, we got to recruit this kid, we got to do this, we got to clean this up, we got to change here, we got to do this, we got to do that. And I got my little son tugging on me, and I'm thinking other things. That's just the way it is when you're trying to invest every second to get it back, because I know what it means in this community, how important it is. And for a long time, it's been down. And I believe this program can be it can be a sleeping giant. And I've said this, the trees just need to be rattled and awoken. There's been some apathy for a while, and that's at no one's fault. But my enthusiasm, my energy, I wear it on my sleeve. What you see is what you get. I'm a 24/7, 365 guy. I am like this all the time, and my mind's racing all the time on how do we get the program, continue to infuse it with energy and passion, and get everyone back, and how do we improve on the court? And that's a constant thing, and there's a lot of areas that we've got to get better at. So I'm proud of many things, and we're getting to play postseason our first year, but there's also a lot of things that we got to get better at too.
Coach, I know it's down the road, possibly 28, 29, but in your mind, the pros and cons of an NBA franchise in Vegas?
Well, I think the pros are you have more opportunity. Back up a little bit, Chris. Andy's telling you back up a little bit. Yeah. 28, 29. That's still a few years away. But look, the NBA is already here with the summer league. In this building, the summer league. The pros are down here on the summer working out all the time. They're in our gym all the time. I think it can only help recruiting. Yes, people might say, well, does that affect anything with ticket? We're already having a lot of competition. Will there be more competition? For sure. But that doesn't affect, what we've got to do is win. I've said this multiple times. We got to win. We got to win big. We got to play meaningful games in late in the season. Whether it's for a league championship or playing for an at-large berth in the tournament, people will show up. I know what the energy can be in that arena. I was there. I sat at the very top at all games. After we were done, I sat there on Friday night, all day Saturday night, Thursday night, all day, both games Friday night, Saturday, at the very, very top. So the very top. I watched everything. I watched the teams. It gave me a chance to watch. I watched the atmosphere in the building. And I have a lot of ideas, thoughts that we can, things that we can do. But first and foremost, we got to win. And if we can do that, you look at that crowd there. There's a lot of energy in that building, and I hope we can get it back. But we got to do our part. We got to do our part early, Chris. And whether the NBA's here or not, which they're eventually going to come, I think it's only positive. It's more the mecca of basketball is right here in Las Vegas, and to anyone to think that they weren't going to have an NBA team at some point. I mean, the Final Four is coming here in 28. The NCAA was so anti ever coming to Las Vegas. They're having the Final Four here so this is just it's a sports capital of the world.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thanks everybody. Appreciate it.
Well, walk us through the last 24 hours for you.
I remember I was taking a nap and I woke up with Coach Pastner calling me, said we was playing on Tuesday night and that we was leaving today after practice. So, for me that's stoking news. I love to play, I love to compete, just as Coach Pastner does. So yeah, I'm excited. And it's my first time in the NIT. So, NIT is like for me it's like a historical college basketball tournament, especially for the NCAA. So I'm excited to play in it and say I played in it.
I saw you post a picture that you were in the gym this weekend putting up shots. Just talk about kind of that edge you're bringing into this tournament.
Well, that was even before I figured out we were playing in it. But just that's just me trying to stay myself, keep everything I have going for me, and, just stay consistent.
Yeah. What do you take away from the Utah State loss?
Just great toughness, I think it's, as everyone says, it's hard to beat a good team 3 times, but you could just tell they wanted it more than we did, I would say, even me. I didn't have the best game, but that's okay, because now we have a chance to go and shake back.
A lot of teams don't play in the NIT; they back out of the NIT. Why do you think this team is excited to play in it?
Because we low-key need it. Like we need all the momentum we can get, whether it's the end of the year, just even to help this thing grow for next year. That's one of the things that I want to help Coach Pastner with, is just get this thing going for next year and get a lot of notoriety to UNLV. And the NIT is one of those places to do it.
Josh told us that Isaac was in California because he was going for spring break. Did you have to cancel any spring break plans?
No, I haven't yet. Not yet. I had a flight. My family was going to Florida the 21st, but I got protection on it, so it's all good.
We talked a lot about the growth of your leadership on and off the court. How are you leading this team heading into the postseason?
Just trying to keep everyone's spirits high. It's obviously after you think the season's over, you can be low, kind of tap out of it a little bit, trying to just get yourself back together, your mind back together. But it's not the time for that right now. We got some things we got to do. So it's just trying to get everyone's mindset back in the right mindset of, let's go out, we got to compete, we got to bring the energy. And it hasn't really been too hard. I feel like everyone's been pretty much excited about going and playing in NIT.
Off the topic of postseason basketball, but NBA coming out with some news of the possibility of a team coming here. Do you have any thoughts?
I think it's awesome. My goal one day is to play in the NBA. So if I was stable and everything worked out the right way, it would be perfect for me. It's like be the perfect setting. But I let God handle those things for me. I let God handle my future, and I just put all my faith into Him and let Him carry me.
Have you had the chance to run into any NBA stars here in this building?
I actually ran into Bam Adebayo this summer, which is crazy, and he just had that crazy historic game, So I got to work out on the opposite court of him this summer, and just watching him work out, you could see his level of intensity even just in his workouts. You could tell he's one of those guys that'll come out and maybe give you 80.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wait, when was that? Like, what was he here for?
I think summer league, or he might have been watching his girlfriend
It's
as
also
well.
Asia
Wilson.
Wilson's, yeah.
I think his girlfriend was actually working on the other side.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, wow, that's really cool. That's cool. Wanted to ask you about Anthony Marshall. Coach Pastner talked about how important he is to the team and how you guys have rallied around him. What's your relationship like with him?
I'm very close to Coach Marshall. As times you can see, you can tell. I'm sure everyone could tell it's an emotional game. But Coach Marshall will tell me when he played here, he was that emotional person, and sometimes let his emotions get in the way of him a little too much. So his big thing with me is just trying to keep me out of that way of letting my emotions come in between what I can do on the court. And he played a big role in that and helping me with that for sure.
What are the ways that he's kind of instilled that into you?
Just like in practice, you see me getting frustrated, he'll come up to me, tell me to just take a deep breath, calm down, and just stay in the right mindset, because the team needs me to lead them. They don't need me to see me crash out.
Coach told us UC Irvine has the nation's leading shot blocker. What's the game plan for Tuesday?
In the paint, play off 2 feet. That's been something even for me that I've struggled with. So even today in practice, I'm just trying to emphasize getting in the paint, playing off 2 feet, and just trying to make the right read.